Amanda.
And I'm Mel.
And this is the Road Back Home podcast,
where we share real conversations about midlife, sobriety, and sisterhood.
Hey, Mel.
Hiya, fella.
And hello, lovely listener. And so we thought we'd take a bit of a break from all of the, what would you say, Mel, the real life. Well, this is still real life, but we'd take a break from the heavier material.
That's
and
word.
We'd step into kind of sacrilegious territory and have an episode giving you our the favorite ways that the Irish tend to curse, because the Irish cursing as an Irish person is, in my opinion, an art form, I think. So what do you think, Mel?
So I find that as Irish, we tend to get away with swearing more than other cultures, possibly. I guess the way it sounds, it just comes across less offensive or funnier or more natural. Or, I mean, we use certain curse words that are traditionally used as nouns, as adjectives a lot of the time, which we can get into later. But
Yeah. And I also find as well, because our native tongue is Gaeilge, Irish, and it was effectively stolen from us. And I don't know, did I hear this? And I can't attribute to whom I heard it, but it was something along the lines of the Irish, our language was stolen, and then we were forced to speak English. And so we took English and we turned it into an art form. So the way that the Irish speak the English is with our playfulness, with the original playfulness and creativity of our native tongue, which is Gaeilge, because it's a much more metaphoric, poetic kind of language, I think. And then the Irish way is like so full of wit and imagination and poetry.
mhm.
And so cursing, it's almost like a device in storytelling. You know, the way there's devices in writing or in visual devices for directors or movie makers or something like that. I honestly think that cursing is a narrative device to the Irish.
It's a good way of putting it, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, so all that humor and exaggeration and irony, um, and also the good humor behind it is that, like, you know, the way slagging as an Irish thing. So if you're ever in Ireland, or if you're getting a slagging in Ireland, you're being initiated into the pack. So a slagging is like making sure that you don't take yourself too seriously, because that's kind of a thing that we do here. We make sure
Yeah.
that everybody is kind of like, humble. And slagging is how we do that. And that is like not to offend you, not to hurt you, but it is kind of to create a sense of shared something, and also just to get a laugh or something like that.
And
So
a
it's very,
slaggin, for anyone who doesn't know what a slaggin is, although you've kind of, described it, but it's basically to make fun of somebody about something, but in a more playful way. Although I will say that, it can be passive aggressive at times too, depending on how it's done.
yeah, yeah, the slagging, yeah, with the intention behind the slagging. I think it's sometimes like slagging in its original form, in its intended form, is good humored, but
Yeah.
sometimes people can hide behind a slagging
Yeah.
like anything else. Because it's humor at the end, and like what we said before about humor. Um, you know, but yeah, so it's cultural, it's historical, it's part of who we are, it's our linguistic richness, you might say. But anyway, that is there's nothing like explaining a joke to make it unfunny, so I'll stop explaining. So what we've done is we've kind of created, and I don't know what your list is, and you don't know what mine is, so we've kind of created lists of words that we would use to refer to each other or things or whatever. So do you want to start, Mel? What have you got on your list?
Well, I mean, top of my list, and everybody who knows me would be, they'd be horrified if I didn't start with this one, is
Okay,
the good old Geebag.
Geebag. Okay, so spell Geebag for us.
Geebag, all one word.
Okay,
That's important. There, have you watched Bad Sisters on Netflix
I have.
or Hulu, Apple TV? It's Apple TV. So Sharon, is it Sharon Horgan?
Yeah.
So she's currently doing a tour of all the talk shows around here. And it's so funny because she's having to explain these words because they use the word "gee" in in the show. And so she was on one of the talk shows recently explaining to them what "gee" means. And I just thought to myself, I am 30 years in this country and I still cannot bring myself to buy a jar of ghee. I
Oh, ghee
just,
butter.
no, I can't. I mean, and I know there's a H in there protecting it from being a real ghee, but even like clarified, moist ghee, like is how it's described. And I mean, I'll be standing in the grocery store looking at this stuff, just laughing like a lunatic, thinking, "Oh my, excuse me, could you just step aside? I just want to grab that ghee." Excuse
I would put a bit of ghee in the curry.
me. I'm
Oh
off
no,
the I'm off the butter, so I'm just going to have a bit of ghee on my toast. Can
oh
you
gee.
I
I'm off
know.
the ghee for Lent.
Oh, well, new studies show that too much ghee causes blockage of the heart. Sorry, boys. I mean, it also tastes mank, and I don't want to get into what ghee tastes like, but as in like real traditional, Irish ghee. Oh God. All right, next word. What's next on your list?
Oh, stuff. Okay, so are we done with the ghee? So what is a ghee bag though?
Oh, a ghee bag. Okay, so what I want to do is, right, because we have a majority of listeners between America and Ireland. So I will say, and Canada as well,
Mm.
and probably all over. But being that I live in America, so a ghee bag, how would I how would I
Can I just intro for a second to say that also not to be confused with the American word gee. Gee, Frank. It's no, it's ghee, Frank. Like it's
yeah,
spelt the same as G. So even
yeah,
that, when we say gee whiz, we're like ghee whiz.
yeah,
Anyway, so ghee whiz.
yeah,
Is that
yeah.
a dessert? Anyway, keep going.
For some, um, yes, it is. So ghee bag. Here's what I love about Irish slag words. Slang, slag, curse words, swear words, whatever, is that every time I try to compare it to an American word, I come up short because
Mm,
there's just not as many words. So like a ghee bag can be a bitch. But a
okay.
ghee bag can also in Ireland, depending on how you use it, with what tone, in what context, can actually be, not necessarily a term of endearment, but like, oh my God, you're such a ghee bag. Like it can be, if it's said like that, it can
Yeah.
be, it's like a lesser version of, it mightn't even be a bitch. It might be like an idiot or, uh,
Yeah, if you played a trick on me, I'd say you
yeah,
fucking ghee bag.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
which and then it's funny. There's zero offense taken. I mean, I don't know
Is it a
that.
bag in which you keep your ghee or
I hope that's not the case. Although I'm getting pretty close to probably
ghee
needing one
bag?
if it drops any lower. Anyway, so I've no idea where the association of bag came from, but we'll go down the list and you will realize that
Yeah.
there is no there cannot be no origin. There just can't be an origin for most
I
of these.
wonder where that came from. Ghee bag. Anyway, so yeah, you'd call your female friends, and if somebody was just being a nuisance or something, you'd say fucking ghee bag. So yeah,
Hmm.
it can mean anything depending on, and then your people will know depending on the tone that you're using it, and also the context. The
Now,
context is everything.
I do feel that it's more of a Dublin term. Like somebody else told me that gowl
Probably.
bag is used in Limerick, for instance. I had never.
No, I think that was a Dublin friend who told you that. So I'm going to suggest that they put the bag on the end of that because down here it's just a gowl. You're just a gowl.
A gowl. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're not a girl bag. You're a girl bag maybe if you were from Dublin and you were spent the weekend in Limerick and you came home with a new course and put
Okay.
bag on the end of it.
Okay. So that's Gee gone on holidays.
Yeah,
Okay. The
that's Gee goes
temperate,
to Limerick. Gee
yeah,
does
Gee goes to Limerick and comes back a gowl.
Oh God. Yeah, and then there's also gee-eyed. So when you're gee-eyed, that means
You're drunk.
yeah, you're
As
out
a
of it.
song.
So you've
Gee-eyed.
eyes like two piss holes in the snow.
There you go. And that makes sense. That's a good origin for that one. What have
There
you
you
got
go.
top of your list?
My favorite one is gobshite.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
great.
gobshite,
Universal, unisex.
universal, unisex, and also, Father Ted, classic. One of my favorite lines from Father Ted is when Dougal is pretending to be on the t television because they break their television. And then he
Yeah.
just puts the TV set up in front of his face and he's like, "Hello, Father Dougal Maguire here on the telly." And then Father Jack wakes up out of his chair and goes, "How did that gobshite get on the television?" So
So
yeah,
gobshite. So if we break that down, like gob is traditionally mouth and
yes.
shite, so it's like just someone who's bullshitting.
I guess so, yeah. Like just shite out of his mouth, a gobshite, a mouthful of shite, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
Also, what is it with shite now becoming a word that they're using over in America? When did that happen?
But sure, look at when you think of it, of the amount of words that we are using in Ireland that are Americanized, so like
Well, we
share.
have an excuse. Oh, I suppose we have an excuse because, like, we've been listening. Like, Cagney and Lacey was in our telly rooms when we were in our 80s. Well, in our 80s, in the 80s.
That is
Um,
true. I haven't heard shite being used over here now by my American friends.
I've seen it being spelt a lot in the comment section. I've seen shite being used a
But do you
lot.
think that might be people trying to have some sort of relatability? Like, I can use this word. You know what I mean? Do you think it might be just
I
a,
don't know.
I
I
don't
don't know.
know. I
I
haven't.
don't know. But I felt very possessive over it because I was like, "Hey, that's our word. Get off it."
Well, of course you feel possessive of it because we've been an oppressed nation for hundreds of years, and anyone that tries to steal that from us now, will feel our wrath.
So, another one. Funny enough, I was asking people in work the other day. And that there's a few people I work with from different places. Like we've a girl from Ukraine, we have Argentina, we have France, we have Polish. And I asked them, I said, what is the thing you find the funniest about Irish people and how they curse? And do you know what they all said?
Wow.
They all said, Irish people start sentences with fucking. So we'll say things like, fucking, did you see that? Your man there the other day on the telly, that thing was on again. Fucking, will I go to the shops for the milk altogether, sure?
Yeah, I know. Listen, Patrick had one of his friends here in the house last night, and Frank was trying to tell me a story. And I was just being a bit protective, because Frank's story started, it ended, and every second word in it was fuck. And it wasn't even a story about anything aggressive at all. It might
Like
have just said, "Oh,
feeding the ducks.
the fucking weather now." You'd fucking think at this fucking stage that, coming into fucking winter, like fucking fall is fucking over, but you'd never fucking know. But you look out that fucking window there now and tell me if you can fucking see any fucking sign of, and I'm going, oh my God, Frank, just lower the volume there. Like, American families don't speak like this. And yet
No.
it's second nature to us.
Oh my God, that's too funny. Yeah, it's almost like a competition. Like, how many fucks can I get in to this monologue?
But do you think it's conscious? I think there's a part of it that has actually become unconscious.
It is definitely I am only conscious of it when I'm around someone who may not curse very much, as in like what usually if I'm, speaking to
Children.
yeah, yeah,
Hello, story of my life.
yeah.
I have to censor myself all the time, particularly between the hours of 3 p.m. and 7 p.m., Monday through Friday.
Oh my God, I can imagine. Anyway, yeah, it's definitely a big one for all of us, and I know that I use it a lot.
Mm.
Um,
Do you have a
Another one,
default? Do you have a default word, Amanda, if you stub your toe? I
it'll definitely be
immediately,
that.
you cunt, unfortunately. Like if somebody, this is why I say to my teachers as well, if we are around the children and you are playing a prank on me and it is to scare me, please
Be
don't,
prepared.
because my like a default word has zero filter. There's no time to have any sort of an impulse response. No matter what, if someone's, oh, you can't, oh, you can't, oh, you can't, Jesus. So it's literally, there's no stopping it.
Okay, it's just in there. It's one of your fight or flight. It's your oh geez, it's your emergency brake. It is the oh
Yeah.
Jesus word for you. Okay.
Oh, it is.
So brings me to my next one, which is Jesus.
Brilliant. So
Uh,
much in that. Love it.
Jesus. Yeah. So the use of our Lord's name, not in vain though, because I just think that it is very appropriate most of the time when you look at someone. So this is like all you need to say. If somebody walks by and you need for everyone around you to know that, you know, what you've just witnessed is an abomination on society, you just out loud go, ah, Jesus.
And the
That's it.
lower your voice goes, I've
Yeah.
dad's voice and I heard Jesus. Jesus. So the lower your voice can go with that, the more abominable the situation is.
Jesus. Yeah, that's unacceptable. So Jesus is, we summon our Lord's name when something is just unacceptable. That's what it is. It's kind of a complaint,
Yeah.
you know? It's a little complaint to Jesus. But also, I love how the Dubs will say the Jesus milk was ale.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, did you
The
see the
Jesus,
Jesus traffic?
the Jesus heading your woman. Jesus. Imagine going out of the house like that.
The Jesus fruit over there in Little.
Yeah, that's what I
Okay.
mean about using swear words as adjectives.
Yeah.
Like, back to the C word, and sorry, we will definitely have, an explicit warning for this podcast, but, we don't just use it as a noun, but like oftentimes, and I'll bring Frank back into it again because, he's a whore to curse. He doesn't even know he is half the time. Now, listen, I'm no angel myself, but, he's like, "Geez, that's an awful cunt of a day. That's an awful cunt of a day now, that is. That is an awful cunt of a day." So, it gives the day an adjective. I mean, you could just comment on the fact that it's raining,
Yeah, but
but
it's
that would be boring.
personal.
It
It's
is.
personal. Like that day is like it's
That's
doing it.
it.
Yeah, that day has it out for me.
Yes. Oh, that's so Irish, making something personable, like,
Yeah.
or not personable, personnel, like, yeah, turning it inward on us. Like the rain came down just to piss me off.
Do you know that I remember when we were kids? I remember you summoning the courage. I remember when you began cursing out loud.
Yeah, you probably taught me.
No, you were the first.
Was I?
You were the first in our family to dare curse out loud, and I still remember to this day the glee that came out of you in realizing you had this power that you could curse and not be
It's still
killed.
my favorite thing to
So
do.
that's one thing you started doing before me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Person.
You started cursing in front of our parents before I did.
Yeah, I think I actually do remember that now that you say it. Yeah, that is
Mm.
slowly coming back.
Another great one for the Dubs. Bleeding,
Oh yeah. Leading.
bleeding. So that means bleeding. Where that came from, I don't know. Say, I see bleeding you. I'll
Yeah,
bleed and kill him. I'll
yeah.
bleed and burst him.
I Forced him is one of my favorites.
See
I
me ma bleed and crease me.
Yeah. There's so many great words for, or sorry, there's so many great ways to use the word
I'm
bleeding.
bleeding back. Yeah.
I remember Mam in Florida back in the early 90s when we had first moved over there. And like, you're bringing what you think is English into an English speaking country,
Mm,
but it actually really isn't.
no.
And she had said to some young fella in the and a young fella, a young man, a young child, she said to some young fella in the neighborhood in Jupiter Harbor who had taken Brad's skateboard or something, and she very casually said to him, "If you do that again, I'll kill you." She was confronted by his parents. She will 100% validate this story. She was confronted by his parents who threatened to sue her for threatening to murder her child. And
Wow.
mom's like was basically, "I'll kill you if you do that." I mean, even down to "I'll burst you." I know dad used to do a whole routine like there's really not many more violent ways that you can talk to a child, really, is there? Come here till I kill you. Wait till I fucking kill you.
I'll be dug out of you.
Yeah. Like, think about that. Think about that. I'd be dug out here, right? So in order to get into you, like that in itself already paints a picture of severe violence, right? I'll literally get in you, and then somebody will have to come and actually pry me out of you. Doesn't get more violent.
Because I'll have torn strips of you.
I'll take strips out of you. Oh my God. What about
Mm.
a wank stain?
Oh, somebody used that with me the other day.
Oh, I hope not about you.
Not about me. No, I met a very unpleasant character the other day, and then I discovered that he was married to somebody whose cousin I know.
Mm.
And so I texted my friend who's the cousin, and I said to her, by the way,
Your cousin is a wank
your cousin was in last night and I met
stain.
the husband. And instantly she texted back, oh, the wank stain.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So for anybody who may not get the reference, wank stain, so wanking would be a form of
Jerking off.
okay, I was going to say self-pleasuring, but there we go, jerking off. And the stain being, I
Self-pleasuring.
guess,
A
yes,
wank,
the
a wank is
evidence.
not self-pleasuring.
Okay. And the stain obviously being the residual evidence.
Yeah, but does it mean when you're calling someone a wank stain, do you mean that they should have been a wank stain?
I was only thinking of that this morning. Yes, I do think that that would have been the best use of the DNA that ended up producing you. It should have just been wiped off something. Just to break it up, I have to give a shout out to my friend Nancy, right? Nancy is from Galway. She's a lovely Galway girl. And the very first time I met Nancy was actually when do you remember the lady who broke the scandal, the cervical smear, Vicky Phelan?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And
Oh,
the
I do
day that
remember.
yeah, the day that Vicky Phelan died was just a very sad day in Ireland, and it was a sad day for women. And I mean, the whole thing was sad, but the day that she actually died, she was a phenomenal woman who did great activism on behalf of a scandal here in Ireland of the women's cervical smear test results being there was mistakes made and then there was a cover up. Anyway, the day that she died was a sad day and I felt very sad. And I remember texting my swimming friends and said, is anyone else feeling sad today? Would you like to meet? Let's go for a swim. Let's go and meet on the pier even if we don't go swimming. So we all went and met on the pier. And it was my very first time meeting Nancy. This woman showed up with a guitar
Mm.
and just like an incredibly infectious, warm personality and made the day. You know, just she showed up and she delivered, and I got such a sense of connection from her. Anyway, I remember saying I really want to be friends with this person, so I invited her to a play in town. And we went into the play and we were a little bit late. May have been my fault. We were a little bit late getting there. And as we were driving up O'Connell Street in Limerick looking for parking, we kept missing spots. And Nancy, out of her mouth, just went, oh, well, now, fiddlesticks. We're after missing a spot there now. And then turned the corner. She'd be like, ah, fiddledy dee, Amanda. There's another one. And I said to her, I'm looking at her and I'm saying, are you fucking serious? Is this how you curse? She's like, what? I said, okay, we need to be friends just because nobody else in my life curses like fiddlesticks, fiddledy
Daint
dee,
daintily.
daintily cursing. So yes, she is a lovely balance. I'm going around like a sailor, and she's like, oh, like a Disney princess, fiddlesticks, fiddledy dee. But I love you very much, Nancy, if you're listening.
No.
Um, so we have kind of done poxy, pox bottle, bollocks. Uh,
Bollocks. Yeah.
so bollocks or ask me bollocks or you bollocks. So there's
Mhm.
many uses for
I
this.
will in me bollocks.
I will.
Will you go over there and bring that bin outside? I will in me bollocks. Fucking ask me flaps.
Yeah, ask me bollocks. I think that's so funny. Do you remember when Patrick was young, when he was only about
Yes,
3 or something? Oh no.
I'm after hurting me bollocks. Yes. He was no more than 3 years old
Yeah,
and he
we
was
heard you.
jumping on my bed. And of
Yeah.
course, he was singing something funny, so I was filming him. And next of all, he fucking disappeared down through the fucking slat of the bed. And we just hear, I'm after hurting me bollocks. Because they had such Irish accents when they were little before they went to school, you know? But they still, it's so funny, Amanda, because now with their American accents, but they still say things that crack me and Frank up, and it's just so natural to them.
Yeah, you mean
Now,
Irish things they still
oh
say?
yeah, especially Patrick. Yeah, Patrick have a tendency to, you know, just use Irish terminology with the American accent, and it sounds so funny. It sounds so it just doesn't sound right, but it's part of who he is, you know. Um,
So a bollocks as a noun is the undercarriage of a male anatomy, I guess is the best way that you can put it. It's neither it's none of the specific genitalia, it's kind of all of the genitalia, I guess.
Mm,
Um, and so yeah, ask me bollocks, I guess means, you know, like yeah, you might as well get down because you're not going to do it. So you've
yeah.
about as much chance of getting what you want there as if you humbled yourself to the degree that you were actually ask me bollocks, which
Yeah.
is not going to give you an answer any better than mine. Or if you were very tired, you'd say, I'm bollocksed,
Mm-hmm.
which is another
Yeah.
way of saying
Absolute bollocks to him. Yeah.
I'm bollocksed. Or banjaxed is another one. Banjaxed is like effect. So ask me bollocks, which brings me nicely to ask me whole. Or I will in me whole. That is actually one of my favorite ones. I don't
So
even say I will in me. I just say me whole.
you have on the tail of giving Nancy a shout out, I do have to give a shout out to Stephen Quentin and Slim, my three pals at home in Dublin, who I did reach out to asking for their favorite swear words. And I'll tell you, the WhatsApp group lit up and some of these things, but on the line of what you're saying, me hoop. I will me
Me,
hoop. Me hoop is a big one at home in Dublin.
really
Ask
me
me
who.
hoop. I will me hoop, but one of my favorite ones is Mister, give us a swingy or Mickey. Do you want to explain that one?
No. Gives us a swing arm, Mickey.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, me whole. I often say that like when I don't believe you, or when it's like so preposterous a thing to imagine that, somebody might ask me, are you going to your man's funeral? I'll just go, me whole. And that
Yeah.
means absolutely not.
Yeah. In Boston, the way that they say no is with a yes first. Yeah, no.
Oh, okay, we do that.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no. Are you are you going to go out shopping on Black Friday? Yeah, no. Yeah, we do have a tendency to do something similar.
There's a very funny one in Limerick called a haunty beower.
A haunty beower
It's kind of two words. So a beower means like a,
woman.
a woman, yeah, a female. So a beower, like, did you see the beower? I shifted this beower. Shifting means, I guess what? I hooked up. It's a hookup. I hooked up with this. So instead of saying I hooked up with this one, you'd say I shifted a beower, kind of a thing.
Yeah, a
Um,
shift. Did you get the shift last night?
did you get the shift? This beower, yeah. So a haunty beower, though, I guess, is a kind of a needy woman that is, all you wanted was a casual thing, and now
She's haunting you.
she's looking for more. Yes, so the haunty bearer is back.
Oh, it's like the shitty blanket.
There you go, the haunty bearer, and I think that's funny. And then
Uh,
going down to Cork, what do you think we have for Cork?
uh, is my joke? Is that more Dublin?
Oh, that's definitely Dublin.
Yeah, you my joke. Yeah.
In Cork, they even wrote a song about it. In
Langer.
Cork, being known as a langer.
Langer. Oh, that's a great one as well. You can get your tongue right around that L. Yeah, langer.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Langer.
langer is something that you'd call a langer. So that's like a kind of another word for a gobshite. It's also another word for the male phallic
Mm-hmm.
penis. Phallic? Why did I say phallic? And I just did not say penis. So it's
Yeah.
also a word for penis. It's also, if you put an S at the end of it to say that I was langers, that means you were very drunk last
We've so many words for drunk.
night.
Um,
Yeah. What would you call, have you ever seen, and I see these people all the time, face like a slapped arse.
yeah. What's a slapped arse look like? So does that mean someone has a red face?
Yeah, you know that face that just looks like a slapped arse? Like, I don't know how else to describe it. It's just they have arrived and they have some kind of, it's somewhere between surprise and, confusion.
Oh, is it like
If
a
it,
a face like a bulldog chewing a wasp?
so
Similar.
I actually know somebody with one of those faces too, but a face like a slapped arse is somebody who has arrived in just maybe after running, maybe they've missed a bus.
Oh yeah.
And then they arrive into a room and they're slightly somewhere between overwhelmed and confused and also surprised by something. So they're not fully on board. They've
Hmm.
just kind of missed something and now they're here. And you'd say that one has a face like a slapped arse.
Yeah, that's a good description.
Mm.
Love that. What about a neck like a jockey's bollocks?
I love
Now
that.
let's talk about that. I mean, a neck like a jockey's bollocks, like, we use that when somebody has done something that has required some nerve,
Mhm.
right? Like I would have never done that. He has a neck like a jockey's bollocks to ask her to do that.
Yeah, that fella has a neck like a jockey's.
So
That's
now,
his.
now I have to go to the jockey in my head and imagine what state his bollocks must be in. Right? And like to be riding a horse at that speed.
Mm.
I mean, I imagine what do we think the state of the bollocks is in
Like
order?
it not easily injured. Is that what they really mean? Like it's like it takes a lot. It takes a lot. Like neck like a jockey's, like would not easily offended or something like that, or like
Like it's
you know the
hard,
way
it's tough.
hard. It's tough. Tough
Yeah.
skin. Oh God.
Oh God, yeah, no, let's not go there. What's your next word?
Scarlet for your ma.
That's a great one.
So that's two. Like scarlet is enough to say, oh, scarlet, which means scarlet, which means I'm embarrassed. I am now crimson in the face.
Yeah.
So so you just say scarlet, but we take
Yeah.
the T off the end and replace it with a H. We don't say scarlet, we say scarlet. And
Oh,
then that's if you are just embarrassed for yourself.
yeah.
But if you're embarrassed for somebody else, you'd say scarlet for you.
Yeah.
But if you're so embarrassed for them that now your embarrassment has extended to the person who has given birth to you for having you in the first place, then you say scarlet for your ma.
That's actually, I think, one of my favorite ones. Scarlet for your ma. Oh my God. That's brilliant. So,
Mm.
like, what you said is so embarrassing that I'm not only embarrassed for you and me in this scenario, but for your mother for even thinking about having you. You might have been better off being a Wangstein.
Oh God, which remembers that it reminds me of the one that our dad said to some fella. So we were out, and I laugh at this regularly. Actually, we were out anyway, and having a good out session, and it was a lovely day, and there was a lovely young fella serving us and running back and forward to the bar, which, as you can imagine, was a big job. So he's bringing out pints, and then Dad wanted to buy him a pint. And he says, "There you go, have a pint." And the young fella, who was very innocent, says, "Oh, I don't drink alcohol. I don't drink alcohol." And Dad said, "Well,
I'm
then
12.
buy yourself a glass of milk or something." And the young fella said, "Oh, I'm allergic to milk."
Oh, Jesus.
Something like that. And Dad said something along the lines, "Well, have a glass of 7 Up or something." "Oh, well, I can't drink sugar." And whatever it was, it ended up, Dad was like, "Well, will you have, like, what can you have?" And then the young fella went into a whole thing about how he was an allergic to bee stings and he was allergic to milk and wheat and gluten and all the things. And Dad just looked at him. He says, "You know what? You'd be better off if God took you."
I knew you were going to say. Oh, God, love the poor young
Yeah.
people better. Well, you see, that was Dad's thing. Dad's thing was if his quality of life was taken away from him, that was
And
that.
it's quality of life being can't eat and drink all the things.
Oh, 100%.
It
That was,
wasn't like the fact that your man was actually looking after himself, because that's actually quality of life.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
there you go. Yeah.
To stay healthy.
Yeah, pull the plug if I cannot eat and drink everything that's causing me to be ill.
Yeah.
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 Um, so there's one I have here, and again, it's, back to moving to America with English that I thought would work here. Actually, this is before we moved. This was on holidays. Probably me, I'm probably about 7 or 8 years old. We're in line for one of the rides at Disney, and there's a young one on front of me, and she's wearing, what we call a bum bag. But
Yeah.
over here, there's several different terms for it. It's a fanny pack, it's a fanny belt, is another word. And a fanny in Ireland is your vagina. So this young one says to her dad, "Dad, can I get my fanny belt? Can you give me my fanny belt?" And I had a face like a slapped arse because I turned to Mom and I'm like deer in the headlights. I looked at Mom and I said, "Mom, what's wrong with her fanny that she needs a belt for it?"
Oh,
I had this vision of this poor young one's fanny falling out of her or something like a fanny belt, very different meaning in America.
Fanny. Yeah.
Yeah, ask me
In
fanny.
Ireland, your fanny is the front of your bum.
Yes, it is. And it's yeah, and again, it's not just the genitalia, it's the whole package, the whole area. A twat or a twat. I came to find that at the birthday party of my friend Bill Murray, not the actor, but my equally infamous friend. Okay, I won't say infamous, sorry, Bill. We were at his grandmother's 80th birthday party, and across the table, I called him a twat or a twat or something, and the whole fucking table came to a standstill. And he just, carefully chauffeured me out of the restaurant to explain to me that that was, like it just was a really bad term. And I guess it refers to the vagina, but you know the way we'd say you twat or you twat.
Twat, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So not one that was appreciated at an 80th birthday dinner. I learned pretty quickly.
Twat, twat, twit. Shite hawk.
Oh, I don't know that. What part of the country does that,
Shite hawk.
yeah,
I
originate
don't know,
from?
but I guess I've definitely heard it down here. So I'm down in Munster.
Hmm. Yeah, that one now I'm not terribly familiar with. What about a tosser or a tosspot?
Tosspot. Yes, I haven't heard that in a long time.
Yeah, tosser. Yeah, it's not. I'll tell you one that I do love, and Sharon Horgan was talking about it on one of the shows again, is a wagon.
Oh yeah, wagon is a
Wagon.
good
And
one.
it's how you say it, like the WA, like the more articulate that, the bigger a bitch the person. A wagon. If it's a
Wagon.
wagon, it's a wagon, but she's a wagon, that one. A wagon. Wagon
I'm
is,
looking here at the meaning of shite hawk. Shite hawk is somebody, a useless person, a go nowhere, an idiot that talks crap. See also gobshite. So feck off you, you shite hawk. It's also someone who goes around trying to rip people off for goods.
oh,
And so you'd say, fuck off you, you shite hawk. I don't want any of that shite you're selling.
that's so funny. Fly away, shite hawk.
Shite hawk. Yeah, hawking, I guess, means selling. Um, go away to fuck.
Yeah,
That's, yeah, when someone tells you something that you haven't heard before and it's a little bit gossipy, that's what you'll say. Go away to fuck.
yeah. Fifi says a great one, and I think I use it daily at this stage when something is just hard to believe, or you've just nothing more to say or comment on a situation, you just go and you have to kind of do the inward sigh first. Oh, sure, how would you be well? How would
Yeah.
you, how would you be well? I love that one. It just kind of completes everything and moves you
Mm.
on to the next subject.
So one of the things I wrote down here was for anybody who really wants to hear cursing, Dublin cursing anyway in action, is to watch either The Commitments or The Snapper.
Brilliant.
Yeah, they're two. The Commitments is particularly brilliant because it's actually a music movie about a real band. They became a real band, The Commitments. Things that you don't want to be called. I mean, you don't want to be called any of
All
this,
of the above.
but also one of the things you don't want to be called a dose.
Oh, a dose.
That
That's
one's a dose. Oh, Jesus, that one's a dose. Meaning,
that
and I
is,
was thinking about this. What does it mean? A dose of what? I reckon the runs, diarrhea, a dose, like it's just like a dose of something that's just going to run through, and you'd be better. A dose of the flu. I think it's meant in that.
yeah. Well, exactly that. A dose, though, is literally somebody that you would want to avoid,
Mm,
both being in the presence of or being. I hope no one has ever referred to me as a fucking dose.
a
If they have,
dose.
may they stay far away. God love them.
Another one is a handling. That one's a handling.
Oh
That
no.
they say that more up the north. That'd be more Terry's parish, up where he comes from. He talks about people being a handling all the time. So that means like a handling would be like a Karen.
Oh, no,
A
never.
handling, like there's hard to handle kind of a thing. There's a lot of handling in her.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yes.
amazing that there's so many different ones varying from
Mm.
you know, province to province.
A consequence,
Oh yeah, that's a great one.
a thundering whore,
Brilliant.
having notions.
A whore's melt. Whore's melt.
So do you know what someone said to me the other day, actually? She said that she had to look up something that we say all the time, and that is that, sure, we didn't lick it off the stones.
Mm-hmm.
And I would never have thought to have to explain that. So that just means that we didn't get it from nowhere, that it came, it's kind of was passed on. So you might say if somebody displays characteristics that are very like their parents, you'll say, Asher, they didn't look it off the stones.
Yeah, apple didn't fall too far. There's a one in that Frank uses in Westmeath to describe a dose.
Mm.
That one would give you the pick. Oh Jesus, that one would give you the pick now. I know I
She
can't explain it any further than that.
she wouldn't get a kick in a stampede. I wouldn't ride her if she had pedals.
Oh my God.
Here's one came across. If he fell into a bucket of tits, he'd come out sucking a Mickey. I think that just means unlucky.
Unlucky.
Yeah. Or
Oh,
one that I heard. So I was at our Nana's sister Phyllis. I was at her 80th birthday,
yeah.
and it was in the house, and one of the cousins obviously had been out the night before on the lash, and it was half the day gone before he arrived down the stairs in his state. And when he walked into the room, Phyllis goes, "Ah, here he is, half man, half mattress. He'd sleep on a clothesline. If he was a bar of chocolate, he'd eat himself."
Yeah. What about for somebody who's mean, like tight, tight as a shark's hole? He wouldn't
If
give
he
you the
was a
steam off his piss.
if he was a ghost, he wouldn't give you a fright.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah,
God, there's too many of them.
yeah. Oh, here's one of my favorites, and it goes back to your C word. I'm no gynecologist, but I know a cunt when I see one.
Yeah. Did you send me that t-shirt recently? Somebody
Uh,
sent me a t-shirt with that on it. By the way, I have more gifts with the word "gee" on it than I care to admit.
I can
Anyone who
imagine.
sees anything with the word "gee" on it, including you got me a jumper that says
I did.
"gee-eyed" on it.
I did. I did.
With beautiful artwork on it, actually. Yeah, I have
Yeah.
a lot of "gee" related gifts.
Yeah. That's all I have anyway, apart from things like go away and shite.
Yeah.
Another favorite of mine is just, and it's not a curse word, it's just lads.
Mm,
Ah, lads. And
yeah.
that just means everybody.
Yeah.
So lads is not like, I think people outside of Ireland might think of lads as boys and lassies as girls. Like nobody here says lassies, by the way.
No, I don't think they even say that in Scotland.
No, they're young lass. I don't know, maybe, but yeah, no, lads just means everybody within earshot. Ah, lads.
Yeah. What about cop on? Cop
Oh
on.
yeah, hop on to yourself there now. Come on.
Onto yourself. Yeah. Oh God, we could go on and on, but I think we've hit. And funny, we had a lot of the same ones on our lists.
Yeah.
Oh, so over here, there's a few that have had to be explained to me. Somebody said to me a while back, oh, she has a hair across her ass. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
So that's an American phrase, right? If somebody has a hair across their arse or ass, as they'd say, if you have a hair across your ass, it means that you're annoyed about something. You're
Okay.
frustrated about something. Or do you ever
Be
hear,
in your bonnet kind of a thing.
yeah, be in your bonnet? Totally. Yeah, I love that. Hair across your arse, ass. The other one is, oh, he talks out of both sides of his mouth,
Mm.
which is quite self-explanatory, but I like the visual of that, just someone who's,
Does that
two-faced.
mean two-faced?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, talking out of both sides of your mouth, are you? Of course, I
Yeah.
turned it into an Irish phrase there. Are you talking out of both sides of your bleeding mouth? Yeah, yeah.
I had a client from Texas one time, and it's a phrase that I use all the time now with my clients when they're trying to achieve two conflicting goals. I would say to them what she used to say, which was what she said to me one time was, "I'm trying to ride two horses with one ass."
That's great.
Yeah.
Love that.
Okay.
Oh,
So it would be great. We'd love to hear your courses and your phrases that you love, or what phrases do we use often that maybe we just use thinking that everybody should understand them, but they don't, such as didn't lick it off the stones. Um, but yeah, so Create your, give us your, we're challenging you to give us your favorite curse. Come on over to our Substack and let us know what is the way that you enjoy venting frustration, or, just kind of like making fun of a ridiculous situation or a person, or yeah, just kind of like expressing yourself in a creative, playful, Mad Lib kind of way.
Yes, and happy Christmas.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Yes. All of
All
that.
all of the above.
And we hope that this just gave you a little bit of lightness, and we will be back next week with more.
Heaviness.
Um, we'll be back next week with more tools to help you navigate your life in ways that don't drive you crazy.
I love that. I think that's a great way of putting it.
Okay. Well, I'll talk to you soon.
All right, Yahur.
Good luck.